Several years ago, when my son was in high school, his band traveled to Washington, D.C. to march in the National Memorial Day Parade. I went with them to chaperone, which was both fun and somewhat enlightening. I can remember walking alongside the band as they played their patriotic medley. I can remember being filled with pride as we walked the streets of Washington, the Washington Monument in the background, and people along the parade route cheering and waving their American flags. Later that day, we visited the Vietnam War Memorial, where I searched for a cousin's name. We also visited the Korean War Memorial and the World War II Memorial. I was profoundly moved to be visiting these sites on Memorial Day. We got on the bus to head home later that night, and I was thankful for the men and the women who had given their lives. And I was also thankful for their families that had been completely and totally altered due to their loved one's death. And all of that was for the freedoms that I enjoy, the freedoms we all enjoy. Years later, I continued to be moved by that experience I had that weekend and filled with gratitude for the sacrifices that were made. Of course, we hold Memorial Day weekend each year, not so that there will be an unofficial start to summer, but to remember. I guess this weekend will be a little different, won't it? We still have to do our social distancing, and many, including myself, will wear masks and stay a little closer to home. And perhaps that is a good thing. Perhaps in a special way this weekend we'll stop to remember that Memorial Day is about remembering those who sacrificed everything for us, for our freedom. You know, there's been lots of talk lately about freedom. There's also been a lot of disagreement and even downright anger. We're calling each other names and judging people's patriotism based upon their political beliefs. Honestly, that grieves me. It grieves me deeply. In our disagreements, though, may we remember to do so in love. And let us remember that what makes it possible for us to state our disagreements is our freedom, won by those we must remember this weekend. Put differently, we are a nation full of differing and diverging viewpoints and deeply held convictions. And that's okay. That is what makes America great. Yet we are all still Americans. Our strongly held opinions and the truth that we can share them comes from those who gave their all. It is my hope and prayer that we will come together, despite our differences and despite our opinions. Realize that we all love our country, and perhaps we can be grateful for each other, but even more so for those who died to give us that freedom. One of the most moving parts of many of the funerals I've conducted over the years comes at the end, when a member of the armed services plays taps. After those beautiful and haunting notes finish, a flag is folded into a triangle, and the family is then presented with that flag with these words, "On behalf of the President of the United States," and that is followed by the branch of the service in which the deceased served. "And a grateful nation, please accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service." More than a few times, my eyes have filled with tears as I watched a widow or family member receive that flag. You know, I have known families with all kinds of differing views and opinions who have received a flag like this one. On this Memorial Day, let us not look at each other as liberal, moderate, or conservative, as Republican, independent, or Democrat, but as Americans, grateful for those who sacrificed everything so we can be free. I hope you will join me this week in giving thanks for those who lost their lives, and give thanks to all who serve and those who continue to serve. And let us continue to pray and work for a world in which days like Memorial Days won't be necessary because there will always be peace. My friends, this weekend, let us remember and be grateful for the sacrifices made for our freedom. My name is Stuart Milton. I'm the pastor of Southport Trinity United Methodist Church, and I pray God's blessings upon you and God's blessings upon this nation.